Hello, second grade. It's Miss T here once again to read you a book for today's read aloud. Today is going to be one of my favorites. It's from the Scooby-Doo books. This one is Revenge from the Watery Grave by Megan Cooley Peterson, illustrated by Christian Corney. Waves bubbled on the shore as the gang hung out at the beach. Man, my ice pop keeps melting, Shaggy said. There's no surprise on a hot day like today, Daphne said. Ice plus heat equals liquid. Tragic, said Scooby. It's not magic, Scooby, Velma said. It's simple science. Everything around us is made of matter. It's either a solid, liquid, or gas. But heat or cold can often turn matter from one of those states into another. Shaggy looked confused. What's the matter, Shaggy? Daphne said. The matter is that my solid ice pop turned to liquid before I could eat it, Shaggy complained. You totally ruined these delicious hot dogs, Scoob, moaned Shaggy. Scooby pointed towards the water. Roast! I see a hazy cloud, Daphne said. Is that where you saw a ghost, Scooby? Scooby nodded. Not as fast, Scooby, Velma said. It's probably just fog, not a ghost. Fog happens when warm, moist air passes over a cool surface, like the ocean, Fred exclaimed. Air has water vapor in it, which is a gas form of water, Velma continued. When the air can't hold any more water, the vapor condenses into tiny water droplets and creates fog. So ice is water's solid form, and vapor is its gas form. Water sure does have a lot of disguises, Shaggy said. Well, many substances can exist in more than one state of matter, explained Fred. Just not at the same time. All I know is the state of my belly is empty, said Shaggy. Rhine-roo, said Scooby. Fact file. Fog and clouds may seem like gases, but they are liquids. They are a collection of small water droplets floating in the air, but clouds, unlike fog, do not touch the ground. Man, there's nothing better than an afternoon snack of pancakes, Shaggy said. Rest, said Scooby, digging in. But I wish this syrup would stay on my cakes, Shaggy said. It's running under the table. That's because liquids like syrup have no shape of their own. They take whatever shape you put them in, Daphne said. Listen to this, said Velma. Another yacht vanished from the marina last night. The sheriff and the Coast Guard are baffled. Daphne leaned over to read the article. A local surfer claims the ghost of Captain Cutler stole the yacht. Shaggy dropped his fork. Did you say ghost? Roast, said Scooby. Maybe that strange cloud at the beach really was a ghost, Daphne said. Let's track down the surfer, Fred said. I saw Cutler's ghost, all right, said the surfer, right before the boat disappeared. What makes you think it's the ghost of Captain Cutler? Asked Daphne. The surfer grabbed her board. On a warm summer's last night, a yacht from the marina crashed into Captain Cutler's ship. His boat sank in the graveyard of ships. Captain Cutler's ghost must be seeking revenge, guessed Fred. Is the old captain making all of this spooky smoke, too? Wondered Shaggy. That's not smoke, said Velma. That's more fog, Shaggy. Zoinks, shouted Shaggy. It's the ghost of Captain Cutler. It's not a ghost, said Velma. It's just Scooby-Doo. What are you doing with the old diving suit? Fred asked. I'm donating it, the surfer said. I'm going to hit the waves. You should visit the captain's wife. She runs the old lighthouse. Man, this place is spookier than a haunted house on Halloween, said Shaggy. Are you Miss Cutler? Velma asked. The woman stirred the pot. I am, dearie. What can I do for you? We think we saw Captain Cutler's ghost in the marina, Velma explained. Do you know anything about that? Why, yes, said Miss Cutler. I used witchcraft to bring back his ghost from its watery grave. Shaggy swallowed. So it's true. The captain's ghost has been stealing boats. I'm afraid so, Miss Cutler said. Had I known his ghost would seek revenge, I would have left him under the sea. Wait, Scoob, shouted Shaggy. Don't eat that. It's a ghost. It's not a ghost, Shaggy said Fred. It's only steam. Reams, said Scooby. Velma nodded. When water boils, it begins to turn into water vapor, which turns into a gas because of heat. All matter is made of atoms. We're a group of atoms called molecules, Daphne added. As the water heats up, the molecules at the top vibrate very quickly. Some of the molecules escape as a gas. It's called evaporation. I think we should evaporate ourselves out of this creepy place, Shaggy muttered. Fact file. Steam is an invisible gas. The cloud above boiling water is actually the steam condensing back into a liquid, which you can see. The air is getting chilly, Daphne said. Yeah, I can't tell if I'm shivering from the cold or because Miss Cutler gave me the creeps, Shaggy said. Creeps, Scooby agreed with a shudder. Our next step is to find that ghost, said Velma. A green glow skidded across the beach. Zoinks! Is every creepy monster in town at the beach today? Said Shaggy. After that glow, Scooby-Doo, Freddy shouted. It's only seaweed, Daphne said. What do you think it means? According to my research, this type of seaweed glows. It only comes from one place, Velma said. Shaggy gulped. I'm afraid to ask. The graveyard of ships, Velma exclaimed. It's where Captain Cutler's ship sank. Man, I'm so spooked my breath is going to run away, said Shaggy. Your breath is a gas, just like air, Velma said. It escapes if it's not in a container. But when the air is cold enough, and it turns to water vapor with your breath in tiny liquid or even solid particles, that's what you're seeing. Speaking of things we can see, I'd like to see that graveyard of ships. Let's rent a boat, Fred said. Fact file. Our breath is a gas that contains water vapor. When it's cold enough outside, you can see your breath. That's because the cold air freezes in the water vapor in your breath as you exhale, turning gas into tiny particles of ice. Here we are, said Fred, the graveyard of ships. Rookie, said Scooby, shivering. Look, Shaggy shouted, it's one of the yachts from the marina. And it's heading straight into that cave, said Daphne. But there's no one aboard, Velma said, and the motor's not running. How is it moving? It must be a ghost, said Shaggy. Fred steered toward the cave. There's only one way to find out. Let's follow that boat. Something's wrong, Daphne said. The boat vanished. Zoinks! Captain Cutler's ghost must have taken it to the underworld, cried Shaggy. It couldn't have sailed through that rock wall, Daphne said. Rocks are solid. And unlike liquids and gas, solids hold their shape, Velma added. That's because the solid atoms and molecules stick tightly together. Come on, gang, said Fred. Let's check out one of the sunken ships. This spooky ship is the perfect home for a sea-going ghost, Shaggy said. Roast! Scooby shouted as the door of the ship cabin suddenly closed. I think that ghost just locked us in, cried Daphne. Well, we're trapped behind this steel door, said Fred. Too bad we can't melt the door like my ice pop, Shaggy said. If it were a liquid, we could swim right through it. Solids usually do have melting points, Velma said. Steel has a melting point of 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 1,400 degrees Celsius. That'd be some pretty hot steel stew, said Shaggy. Very hot, agreed Velma. At that temperature, the atoms start to release each other, and the steel becomes liquid. Well, I don't think we'll be melting this door, Daphne said. Any other ideas? Room rough? Scooby suggested, holding up Shaggy's slingshot. Nice work, Scooby, said Daphne. Our slingshot will totally save the day, said Shaggy. No science needed. Actually, you did use science, Velma said. When you stretch a solid, the atoms pull apart. When you let go, they scoop back together like a rubber band. Great work, gang. Let's keep exploring, said Fred. It's a secret stash of air tanks, said Daphne. And they glow like the seaweed, Fred cried. Things are beginning to make sense, Velma said. We need to get closer to look at that ghost. Scooby pointed at some glowing footprints on the ground. Footprints, he said. Follow those prints, Scoob, Fred said. The gang followed the footprints off the ship's deck and onto the underwater ledge in the cavern. The footprints vanished into a rock wall, exclaimed Daphne. Something fishy's going on, Velma said. Rishy, Scooby agreed. Man, I thought you said rocks were solid, Shaggy said, backing away. It must really be a ghost if it can walk through that. Scooby tripped and tried to catch his fall. Look, Fred shouted. Shaggy found the secret passage, and it leads directly into another cavern filled with stolen yachts of the marina, said Velma. Mystery solved, said Shaggy. Time to go home. Not so fast, Fred said. We've still got to catch that ghost. I was afraid you'd say that, muttered Shaggy. What's your plan, Fred? Asked Daphne. Fred turned onto the ice-making machine. The machine freezes water and turns it to ice, he explained. We'll coat the ramp with ice. When the ghost shows up, he'll slip into our net, changing a liquid into a solid, Velma said. Science wins again. We better hurry, said Shaggy. Who knows when the creepy ghost will show its face again? Right now, shouted Scooby. Zoinks, the ghost, slipped into our trap, said Shaggy. Let's find out who this ghost really is, said Fred. He pulled off the ghost diving helmet. It's Captain Cutler, explained Shaggy. Riz? Asked Scooby. It's him, all right. We saw his picture at the lighthouse, explained Velma. Captain Cutler and his wife cooked up the whole ghost story, explained Daphne. They stole these yachts from the marina and planned to sell them for a hefty profit, said Fred. Captain Cutler used the portable steam machine to look like a ghost. And we would have gotten away with it, too, if it weren't for you meddling kids, said Miss Cutler. Solid work, team, Fred said. Pass me a marshmallow, will you, Scoob? Asked Shaggy. This time I want my solid to melt. Yum. There's the glossary if you want to look at it, and some science and engineering practices.